What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1042 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here today with my guest co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It is Olivia. I am the community manager here at Timcast. Also a frequent guest co-host on the show at this point. Yeah, regular. I
rely on you on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Indeed, yeah. And that's the only way, really. It's purely professional here.
I see somebody in the chat mentioning plastic bottles. Yes, I am drinking a plastic bottle, but
what you should do is go and get your pool water.
There you go. And that's
right.
not a plastic bottle.
It's not. It's glass.
Did you just do ASMR? That's
I was trying to show them it's glass.
Yes.
I wasn't actually trying to be like,
you gotta go like
you know.
this. You gotta do the influencer.
Yeah, I'd rather die, so that's why I just hit it so you can hear it's glass.
Or what is the thing that I always go? None
Makes
of that.
me want to die.
None of that. Okay.
None of that in this house.
None of that. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. You know, I've been a little tired the last couple days, but I'm okay. The weather's been kind of meh, so I think that's why.
It has been meh.
Yeah.
That's all right, guys. It's it is a bit of an overcast day out today, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. So before we get started on everything, hit the like button on this episode, please, and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, do so, because every single day, right before we go live, I'm like, will I remember how to do this? Will I remember how to talk? That's like 2 hours you have to talk for. So go ahead and hit the like button in support of the fact that we're gonna pull it off once again. Hopefully, assuming that nothing goes wrong, it all goes according to plan. So as always, hit the like button, share the episode out with everybody in your life that you love and the people that you even hate as well. The more people that you share the show with, the faster our channel can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. What are we getting into today? We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Number one, of course, being Lisa Kudrow is in the news. She's got a show coming. It's not coming out. It's coming back out. A third season. It's called The Comeback. Apparently, season 1 came out in 2005. Season 2 came out in 2014. And now she's got season 3 coming out over at HBO. And she gave an interview to the London Times. I think it was the London Times. And she was talking about the old writers from Friends and the misogyny that went on set there, some things that were said, some way in which the actors were treated. I made a comment about it on X, and people didn't much like my take on the matter. To be fair, I didn't address all of the claim. I mainly just addressed the fact that she said that the writers got mad when they messed up the lines. But when you're making $1 million an episode, I don't think it's wrong to kind of hold the people accountable. Doesn't make the other stuff okay, but if you're wondering what that other stuff is, we will be getting into that, so stay tuned. We're also going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. He has responded to Donald Trump and Melania's call to, get him pulled off the air. He responded, and then there's a lot of articles being written about the FCC looking into the licenses over at ABC. ABC, of course, being the ones that produces Jimmy Kimmel. So we will talk about that. We are also going to talk about Taylor Swift. She's calling some of her fans, her Swifties, weird. That's what she's doing.
Weird.
So we'll get into that. We've got a bunch. Oh, also, more than anything, guys, we are doing it. We are doing Bad Movie Review Tuesdays, where I just went through and found lists of movies that are almost unanimously panned, mostly by critics and audiences. Today, we are going to be reviewing the 2014 Nicolas Cage movie, Left Behind. No, I am not talking about the Kirk Cameron adaptations, apparently, which existed before this movie came out, but it did come out in 2014. We'll get into it. It's quite an interesting watch, so we'll talk about it. We got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready, we will go. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then. All right, let's talk about Lisa Kudrow. Let's talk about Friends. Like I said right when we got this episode started, Lisa Kudrow has a new show coming out. It's not even a new show. It's a new season of a show called The Comeback, originally from 2005. They did another season in 2014. They've got a new season now coming out in the year 2026. And she was talking about the writers on Friends and talking about some of the misogyny that was gotten up to behind the scenes, as well as some of the other things. We'll look at this article here first from Variety, and then I'll get into a little bit more of the meat of the article. It says, Lisa Kudrow says that the Friends writers were mostly men who stayed up late discussing their sexual fantasies about her female co-stars. She does note that she is not included in that it was mainly Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox. But this is what she says. She told the Times of London that she had to endure some mean stuff from the writing staff on Friends, who were mostly men, during her 10-season run on the NBC sitcom. Kudrow, who starred as the free-spirited Phoebe, said the writers reprimanded the cast for forgetting lines and spent off hours fantasizing about her female co-stars. This is a quote. "There was definitely mean stuff going on behind the scenes," she said. "Don't forget we were recording in front of a live audience of 400, and if you messed up one of these writers' lines or it didn't get the perfect response, they could be like, 'Can't this bitch effing read?' She's not even trying. She's effed up my line." She added that in the writers' room, the guys would be up late night discussing their sexual fantasies about Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox. It was intense. She described the writers' treatment of the cast as brutal, but said that she didn't pay them much mind since most of their illicit behavior happened behind closed doors. She says, it could be brutal, but these guys, and it was mostly men in there, were sitting up until around 3 a.m. trying to write the show, so my attitude was, so what if you say what you like about me behind my back, because that doesn't matter. I appreciated that part at the very least.
She tried to save it.
It's kind of difficult because the average person is just not going to have a lot of sympathy for somebody who is making $1 million an episode in the final season.
Well, it started
Obviously,
at like 22,000, and that's still insane for an episode, right?
No, not for a star. I mean, in 90
At
in
that
the early
time,
90s,
I'm saying that's not
like
bad.
it's
That's
a lot
good.
of it's a
That's
lot of money. It's a lot
Right.
of money.
So
but
to still complain at any level, but to complain at $1 million an episode is insane. Also, I'm curious how she knows about what was going on in the writer's room, like in the middle of the night. That is really weird to me.
she heard him from behind the door.
Right. Well, also, like, isn't she home sleeping at that point? Like, how would she? You would think. I'm not saying she wasn't there at night sometimes, but every night, no, I don't think so. I've never liked Friends, to be honest with you.
Neither have I.
It's like the one thing I'll say about Friends, and my opinion on Friends, is if you see those videos where they take out the laugh track, it's the least funniest show you've ever watched. It's funny because you're laughing with the laugh track.
Well, the thing I think people might not really understand is like nowadays when everybody wants to turn it all into a hug box with these things, when you're making $1 million an episode and you're one of the highest rated television shows ever, which is evident by the fact that it's still relevant in a lot of ways to this day. Friends is one of those shows like The Office, which, some people will buy a whole streaming service just to be able to stream that show. So the writers being picky about the take and wanting an actor to really nail the way a line is supposed to be delivered, I don't feel like you're going to get any sympathy for that. Now, should the writers have been saying sexual stuff, especially with them in the room? No, but that's not what she seems to be saying.
There were other accusations to the writers around that time as well, but that doesn't mean that it did or didn't happen. And I don't know, to me it's giving locker room talk, and she's now like looking back on it 20, 30 years later and being like, it was bad. It's like the Trump thing. Like they just try to make it way worse than it probably is. But I want to quickly talk about here something that we kind of breezed by. The fact that this show has been going since 2005 and it's in its third season, well,
I don't know anything about it. Like I read a little bit in the end of the article here, but
it's a show made by her. It's like a sitcom
we'll get to that
actress.
We'll get to that at the end because it kind of connects back to her previous work.
Okay,
but we'll go into a little bit more what she said from the Times. It says Kudrow, 62, is talking about the show's writer's room on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank, California, where the show was filmed. She said it contained 12 to 15 staff, mostly men. Some of those gags have made it onto the culture. And she says we were on a break. Everybody knows
pivot,
that. Yeah,
pivot.
Everybody knows that. Don't forget, we were recording in front of a live audience of 400, and if you messed up one of these writers' lines or didn't get the perfect response, they could be like, "Can't that bitch effing read? She's not even trying. She effed up my line." And we know that back in the room, the guys would be up late discussing their sexual fantasies about Jennifer and Courtney. It was intense. So
it wasn't even about her?
Yeah. Well, that's
Bro, I feel like she's literally just mad.
There was people in the comments saying that I don't buy.
Look, it's the most woman thing to be mad that like someone's talking sexually about another woman, and then also being mad because it's like, well, it wasn't even about me. Yeah. Like I don't
take issue. So when I tweeted about this, I said, so the people who wrote one of the highest rated, best
had
performing
standards.
shows of all time, had high standards.
Whoa.
Crazy. And
It's
some
not
people were like,
misogynistic.
and some people were like, that doesn't give them the right to treat her that way. But in Hollywood, there is hundreds of millions of dollars on the line at any given time with these productions.
Yes.
Directors and writers are pressured into bringing in the bacon and giving you great results because these people, these producers, or should I say the people funding it, are giving you large amounts of money to produce stuff. They are under a lot of pressure to turn in great performances and get these actors where they need to be. So seeing this type of thing isn't all that crazy. And I didn't find those lines as tasteless as some of it might be. That's about what I would expect in a lot of high-stress jobs where a boss is looking for the right performance from an employee.
Well, and when you're in front of an audience and you have to redo a scene 5 times, it gets embarrassing, right? So, yeah, there are high standards. And when you're going to be demanding more money.
So it says, in 1999, there was a sexual harassment court case brought by writer's assistant Amani Lyle, whose job it was to transcribe brainstorming sessions. She was shocked to hear friends writers discussing sleeping with Aniston and Cox, feigning masturbation, and receiving oral sex. So basically, they were, like you said before, they were doing crude stuff that men have known to do. And of course, this is Hollywood back in the 90s. There was no standard for whether any of this was acceptable. I don't buy that they would be getting away with this in 2026.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Especially like these days, like back then, you might have been expected as a female employee to just, take it because, that was the culture and you didn't want to be perceived as whining or complaining. Nowadays, I think they'd go straight to HR and it would be dealt with.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I also think whining about something like this 25 years later, 30 years later is absolutely insane and diabolical. She goes in to say too in this article something about Me Too and how it was like so great and so needed. That is...
What'd she say?
She said like the Me Too movement was a good thing because they like asked her about it. And they also asked her about like comedy and do you think Trump brought back that comedy? And she's like, no, like immediately was like, it was this woman. It was like very feminist coded. The whole article was.
Well, it says that Lyle, the woman who sued, lost the case. And at the time it was seen as a victory for creative freedom in the writer's room of one of the most popular television shows of all time. It shows you how much sentiment has changed.
Yeah, it has. It definitely has. I think the whole feminism, DEI, all of that has contributed to that. So there has been a huge change, i.e. change for modern audiences, if you want to call it that. It's adapted over time for a more sensitive audience.
I actually didn't. One of the things I found most interesting is the way it was couched between both the comments about the sexualization of the main characters as well as the comments about their performances. It kind of reminded me when we were talking on this podcast about Quiet on Set, where they couched a lot of horrifying accusations against kids with like pay disputes and typical stuff on Hollywood sets that ends up angering a bunch of people. And it makes it harder for the average everyday person to take it seriously when you couch sexual advances or adults possibly being predators towards kids with adults not making the money they want and things like that. And it means that it's harder for people to critique. Like I said, I had my critique of what she said because I felt like when you're making $1 million an episode, being snapped at by a director or a writer is probably the least of your problems. You're being paid a great deal of money
to deal with that.
To deliver on the product.
To deliver on the product and to if you're getting paid that much money, you are meant to be somebody who can handle these things.
Yeah.
You are meant to be somebody who can take these criticisms in stride, take them, work with them, be like, yeah, you know what? I did mess up that line.
So there's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie says, a network TV legend. The story about the Friends group negotiating to each get $1 million per episode for final year. Very rare. The actors' agents were pissed. NBC and Warner Brothers thought they were being held hostage. Yeah, I mean, they mentioned that in this article that she was the one who kind of spearheaded that process because she went to Vassar. They get into that when they talk about it here in the article. It says, famously, the cast were all friends in real life. At the start, they were each paid $22,500 an episode, but instead of competing, they negotiated as a team to secure a $1 million an episode deal by the end. Kudrow, educated at the elite Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, upstate New York, reportedly took a lead in the discussion. As a result, Aniston and Cox became the highest paid television actresses in the world at that time. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of freaking money that a lot of people would say they can deal with this kind of backlash for that specific, like.
Do you think it's a feminist take to be critical of somebody like me criticizing her?
No.
You don't think it's a feminist take to be like, well, they doesn't mean they deserve the treatment. Now, I'm not talking about the sexualization, the comments about.
I'm sorry, who doesn't deserve it?
I'm saying, is it a feminist
writers?
take for them to like somebody like me who's like criticizing the fact that they're not just dealing with the fact that they're kind of being yelled at by the bosses?
So, I mean, like, that's literally like what happens on set. I think people are taking it, and again, she's coming from a very feminist perspective here, so it's okay to critique that. There's nothing inherently sexist about critiquing the feminist agenda. It literally is just based on feeling versus fact in a lot of ways. It is perfectly normal when you are at work that your boss will tell you you did something wrong. And when you work on a set like that with that high pressure, sometimes they're not nice about it. How do you think they got to that level to write on a show of that level in the industry?
And they were likely making far less than the actors were.
Oh, 100% the actors were getting paid more. And so, yeah, like, you might get spoken what you think is spoken down to, but for her to be, and it was mostly men, you threw that in there to make a point. You're making it a sexist argument.
That
throwing
part
it in there.
Well, I guess that part makes sense for the comments about the sexualization.
But I think I would understand that.
Anybody could be criticizing them on set.
Well, like, and what if it was someone making a sexualized comment about Matthew Perry or is it Matt LeBlanc or David Schwimmer? Like, it's possible, right? And I hate when everything gets twisted into this, like, most of them being men. Yeah, probably. Also, they, like, I don't know, like, you had how many, you had 3 leading ladies in this?
Well, I mean, that's another example of at the time. So they can always move the goalposts. This would have been a great example at the time, especially with the uniform contracts of equality in the industry. 3 men, 3 women, all making the same amount of money per episode, right? As opposed to the men being paid a specific amount, the ladies being paid a specific amount, which would eventually be blamed on gender dynamics when really it would have been, what is your agent able to get for you from a contract like this? But instead, this show became it became a show that was criticized for its lack of diversity, which was another thing that Friends was criticized for heavily.
Yeah.
What did your favorite show of all time is The West Wing? Are there stories like this similar to this?
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe I haven't really looked into it. I didn't look into like what the actors said about it, if they were yelled to on set. They've all had very positive things to say about working on there, and it could just be that the good outweighed the bad to them.
Well, Aaron Sorkin wrote every episode, didn't he?
Up through season 5.
But I'm saying, like, for as long as he was there, he wrote every episode. Did he direct every episode or just write every
I think he wrote them, and he like co-directed. Like, he was always there. From what I understand, like, yeah, he had very strict parameters, but they all understood going in that he had a vision for the show, and he was going to make that vision happen.
Yeah.
So I think part of it, too, is that understanding. They all were making a lot of money already at that time. Most of them. Dule Hill, that's kind of where he got to start. But a lot of them, Martin Sheen was already a big enough actor at that time. So was John Spencer. Like, they understood how it worked. So was Allison Janney, 1999.
Like, Rob Lowe was already in
right. Like,
time.
And I know I'm talking about mostly men, but if I want to talk about the women, we can talk about Allison Janney. She seems to hold her own just fine. She doesn't go and complain about that stuff at all.
It is kind of the peril of being in the industry long enough as you like, again, I don't know the tone of the interview. I didn't see it as like a video. Her tone is from what I've understood, a lot of people speak very highly of how she's handled things post Friends. So I don't know necessarily how that is. Stuff in transcript doesn't always necessarily come off the same way as it does in real life. So this could have been far different when it was spoken as opposed to written down and done in transcript and kind of turned into sound bites the way it was at Variety.
But like, how do you say that without it coming off like judgy and feminist?
I saw several comments, people saying like she's actually pretty great, and I'd like to give
she
her
might be great,
due fairness.
But even great people say stupid things, and that's okay.
That is true.
That is okay with me. It's also like great people can make shows that go on for 20 years with 3 seasons with long breaks in between. But sure, whatever. Guess she's great.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. So over the weekend, Jimmy Kimmel came under fire, for lack of a better way to say it, after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And there, as we know, there was a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Thankfully, nobody was severely injured. There was one Secret Service officer that went to the hospital, but seems to be doing okay. He had a vest on. But this comes after Melania and President Trump called for Jimmy Kimmel to be fired. A White House communications director, Steve Cheung, decided to pile on to this. We have it from TMZ that he went and called Jimmy Kimmel a shite, because I don't want to swear, a shite human being. He said Jimmy Kimmel is a shite human being for making a disgusting joke about assassinating the president and doubling down on that joke instead of doing the decent thing by apologizing. ABC needs to fire him immediately, and he needs to be shunned for the rest of his life. If you'll recall, Jimmy Kimmel made the comment. He was doing a mock speech during the White House Correspondents' Dinner where he said, Melania, you have the glow of an expectant widow.
So this premiered 2 days before
on April 23rd,
yes.
This premiered, and the event at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, the shooting occurred on April 25th.
Okay.
Notice how the day in between there was the best day. Okay, but and Brett's like, oh, how dare you?
Continue.
But Kimmel responded last night on his show. I will read you guys what he said here. He said, you know how sometimes you wake up in the morning and the first lady puts out a statement demanding you be fired from your job? We've all been there, right? He said it was a joke, quote, a joke about their age difference and the look of joy we see on Melania's face. It was a very light roast joke. Why do you say it like that? Anyway, it was a very light roast joke about the fact he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not by any stretch of the definition a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do. And I think a great place to start is to dial back and have a conversation with your husband about it. So this comes amid all this backlash. Look,
he's pretentious and annoying in a way where my general idea, my general position on the matter is that I took it not as any type of call to assassination, and I believe that free speech is very important in this respect. And it did come across to me as something more about the fact that she was younger and he was older, and I was annoyed that they were calling for him to be removed again, because I feel like Trump gives him too much airtime and he makes Kimmel more relevant than he actually is. But at the same time, Kimmel is very annoying, and then I want to be spiteful.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Being annoying and being cringe does not matter, at least not to me. Trump is 79 years old. His wife is 56. Okay? There is an age gap. And the thing that my response to this would be, well, why weren't you mad on the 23rd when he said it, or the 24th when you saw it? Yeah. Why aren't you mad then? I know this is going to be extremely unpopular for a lot of the audience. They're going to be like, no, fire him. But he made a joke, and if you had jumped on it that day and been like, oh, that's messed up, it feels like a call for assassination, instead of trying to lump it in with the news cycle, I would understand the outrage a lot more. But he explained himself. Like, what more can you... Like, he said he made a bad joke, and I know we have a 20 here.
I just feel tactically that giving him extra airtime does him no good, and every time... So Kimmel's ratings were lower and then grew and then stabilized after the last time this happened with the Charlie Kirk stuff, right? So he's actually done nothing but help Kimmel.
He made a lie with an insinuation Kimmel did last time, right? He said, oh, this was MAGA that assassinated Charlie Kirk.
There's a 20 there from Shani Chwala.
You got it?
Yeah, it says, having worked on sets as an AD, being snapped at is common. I've done it myself. You have a budget and a deadline. If things are going smooth, directors and ADs are pleasant, but go off the rails and they will be stern.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
Makes sense to me. So... now we have a recent development as of, I believe, this morning. The FCC is now preparing an investigation into ABC broadcast licenses after all this happened, according to
This is a matter of framing, right?
According to people familiar with the matter.
Yeah.
So again, this is a matter of framing. This is kind of something they're saying, oh, I know someone that said this. Okay, well, maybe they're just saying we should, and then you took it as they are. But also we have to remember that this is the first week, or the first few weeks of the new Walt Disney Company CEO, Josh D'Amaro. He took over about 6 weeks ago, less than 2 months ago. This is his first real controversy being in office. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I think Jimmy Kimmel's an idiot. But in this country, we let idiots talk and we give them airtime when they are, enough people like them for it.
So it says the FCC, headed by Trump's appointee, Brendan Carr, is moving forward toward a review of Disney's broadcast licenses, according to people familiar with the matter, a maneuver that would up the pressure on the ABC owner as it faces fierce scrutiny from the administration again over a late-night monologue. Carr has on several occasions threatened to use the FCC's regulatory authority to revoke licenses of TV broadcasters that air programming that he finds objectionable, including Kimmel's on-air comments last September about Charlie Kirk's assassination. The FCC chairman earlier this month suggested ABC could lose its broadcast TV licenses over what he characterized as Disney's illegal DEI programs if the evidence does in fact play out and shows that they were engaged in race and gender-based discrimination. That's a very serious issue at the FCC that could fundamentally go to their character qualifications to even hold a license. And again, people's criticisms of DEI programs and the legality of that is a vastly different discussion than one talking about whether what Jimmy Kimmel said was, an incitement to violence. It's not even an incitement to violence.
It was an age gap relationship joke. Yeah. And you're talking, right now we are two people talking in an age gap relationship. And if we're not offended by the joke, it's not on other people. He made this joke.
But the thing is, I don't think anybody was offended by it. I think they're willfully being obtuse.
No, I think they're feigning ignorance here.
Yeah, well, that's
because they know.
Being obtuse.
They know this was 2 days before. Yeah. They knew that. Well, that's out there. Everyone knows that.
But some of them aren't even drawing that. They don't even care. Like the point to them is that they're not looking that. So one is an off-color joke. If he had made the joke afterwards, it's an off-color joke. No. So I think people see it in two different ways. If he'd made the joke after the fact, then it's an off-color joke about something very serious, which it would have been. But 2 days beforehand, I guess the argument is that it's an incitement to violence. Otherwise, it's just predicting the future.
It's not an incitement.
But it's not predicting the future, and it's not an incitement
to violence at all. It's like saying Caroline Leavitt went and said there's going to be shots fired tonight during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and then literally shots were fired.
Yeah.
But no one cares about that. What they care about is the fact that it's Jimmy Kimmel, he's on the left, and so they can say something to try to get him canceled yet again. And look, we live in a country right now where we have free speech. For better or for worse, we have free speech in this country, and it is very limited in what you cannot say. It's actually very broad in what you can say. Making a joke about the president of the United States is not off limits. If you think it should be off limits, if you think it should be a fireable offense, you're an authoritarian, because that's not how this country works at all. It doesn't. Like you can't just, the president saying, hey, we should fire this guy, and then him getting fired is directly meddling in private affairs. He shouldn't be doing that. Not publicly.
Corey Anderson gave us $2 super chat, says it isn't a joke when he wants it to happen.
Tell me when he has said that. Give me proof that Kimmel has said, I want Trump. Tell me. Because look, I don't like Kimmel at all. I think he's a sleazebag. I don't think he's funny. I don't like him. But I'm not going to sit here and pile on to him because everyone's mad about a joke that happened 2 days before this event. And by the way, again, Caroline Leavitt said that night, shots fired.
I don't even care if you pile on Kimmel as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's his job in the public eye means he's going to get piled on to from time to time. I do think that the problem is that you give him more air and make him more palatable to the people that forget that the guy exists. So the more airtime that Trump gives him, the more airtime that Melania gives him.
It's just going to boost his ratings.
It just boosts his ratings and makes him more relevant than he's been in ages. Like I said, his ratings spiked, then stabilized higher than they were before, after he came back after he got pulled from television because of Nexstar and I forget the other company's name.
But what they did was they looked into it. They looked into it and said, you know what? Yeah. And he went on air and he talked and apologized for it. And
Corey Anderson also says, are you serious? They all want him dead. Yeah, but we can assume that, but we can't know. And for the purposes of this discussion, he has to actually make that known to the public. Otherwise, we're inferring. And inferring is fine if all we're doing is talking amongst ourselves. I would honestly probably agree with you, 110%. But for the purpose of government action, you can't base it on inference.
Dude,
you have
Chad
to
is
base
so
it
pissed.
on.
Chad is so mad at us right now. And look, I don't care because I know I'm right. This country was founded. We have been 250 years this year. This country was founded on the fact that you can say things without the president locking you up as long as you're not calling for violence. And he didn't. He made a really off-color, poorly timed joke. If someone made that joke about Joe Biden to Jill Biden, the right would be cracking up. They would laugh so. I'm sorry. People on the right would be like, that's so funny.
The point that they were making, and I guess is like the unfairness argument, is that he never would make that joke about Jill Biden. He would never make that joke about Joe Biden. I know, but I'm saying,
shoe on the other foot. This is somebody that's right wing. Let's say Adam Carolla goes out and says, "Oh, Jill, you have the face of an expectant widow." People on the left would be so pissed. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. It'd be the same thing, just shoe on the other foot. And people on the right would be like, lol, that's funny. It's just a joke. Get over it. Free speech. Get wrecked. But then when it happens to someone on our side, they're like, well, they actually mean it. Who are you to tell someone what they actually mean? I'm sorry, but we live in a country where you're going to make these different assumptions about people and then get mad when they make generalizations and assumptions about you. That is insane. That's ridiculous. I'm so sick of it.
I just feel like for the purposes of a guy who's on network television, that starving him of oxygen and preventing him from getting airtime is by just not watching it.
Or just, not sharing it. Trump not giving it any like, look, yes, people in chat are saying, but the joke sucks. Yeah, the joke was super off color and it was tactless and it sucked. Okay, I don't like the joke. But I will defend. You didn't read my super chat, guys. If you sent a 20, we'll read it, and then he's only reading the relevant ones, so they don't get lost in the conversation.
It's fine.
But yes, I just don't think that it's one of those things where I don't know. I think really bad joke, not fireable offense. I'm sorry. Like, you might not like it. There's plenty of things on TV I don't like, but I don't think they need to cancel the show or be fired. I don't watch it. I won't watch it. I refuse to watch it. But before I get too mad, because I hate this mentality of like cancel culture's over. We should stop canceling people. We should stop taking people off air. We should stop firing them and doing all these things. And then the second it's against someone we like, now mind you, celebrating the death of somebody, because people will make the argument, what about the people getting fired for the that was a private company's decision.
I also look. The other thing is like whenever like somebody that disliked Trump dies, Trump doesn't care. So it's my point is that that's fine, but you're going to get some callousness in response. In return.
I know he will, and that's because he's doing it to himself. We have a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. The only thing Carr can do is come up with some phony baloney reason to threaten the ABC O&O license. This would get laughed out of the court at light speed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I am saying. Like. Look, Trump is a crass person. He is kind of a cruel person when it comes to Rob Reiner dying or whoever Mueller died, and he made some comments about that. Yep. I feel like I'm trying to look at this very objectively and not take a side in this, saying, I personally don't like Kimmel, but making a joke 2 days before something happened that he had no clue was going to happen, and if you think he did, you're just as obtuse as the people who are trying to fire him. It's insane. Okay.
All right, let's move on. What would you sent the cringe, right?
I did.
You did. Okay. And believe it or not, Jimmy Kimmel is not the cringe today, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, let me double check and make sure that I actually have. I think I might have done a faux pas and not pulled up Q to the day as well. Let me make sure I have it.
Oh no.
I do have it. Okay, we'll do Q to the day first today, because this one is look at this one from Jacktronics. Cat.
Hello. How cute.
It's like that picture of Chloe when she's attacking the string.
Yeah, she's like, yeah.
Oh man. That's oh, by the way, guys, tonight, if you follow me on X, I'm going to be putting up a new image requesting pictures of your pets, because it's time to get more of your pets featured on Q to the Day. But I need to put a new like a want ad out for every. I need the Bernie Sanders picture, the one with him in the where he's like, it says like, I'm once again requesting your assistance. I'm once again requesting pictures of your pets.
Oh, I think I had somebody, Stork shout out in the Discord, make an image of you in the Bernie Sanders coat.
Oh, can you see if you can get it to me?
I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if you can find it again.
All right. Do that. We'll do that. I'll post that tonight. Let's do cringe of the day. So after Olivia makes everybody mad with the Kimmel segment.
I'm sorry.
Now we've got this one.
Please don't unsubscribe, you guys. This isn't even my show technically. Please don't do that.
Let's go. Here we go. So it says, so what did you do in Las Vegas? Me. I have nothing. I'm going sweats. I was sharing my skin.
It really isn't as diabolical as the other ones, but
the top comment says, which U.S. representative is
yeah,
this?
that one made me laugh.
The next comment says, I expected him to moan, honestly.
It was the, not only the hands, but like the hands being outside of the paws,
yeah,
but also the grabbing of the tail is what did it for me.
Oy, boy.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was rough.
That was a little bit rough. I'm really sorry, you guys.
That was
and the
I mean, not as bad as some of them. Like, I still think that hot dog and Snickers, like, face
I should
guy,
find him again and bring him back for Tate.
That guy was the worst.
No, Tate should be here Thursday. If he is, I'm gonna bring back that guy because I love that. He's a patriot.
All right, so if you made people mad enough with the first one, now we're going to talk about Taylor Swift. They're just going to get angry.
Corey's going to be so mad.
Let's go for it.
In a recent New York Times interview, Taylor Swift said that it was weird that her fans turned songs into paternity tests, trying to figure out who they're about. Her statement here is, there's nothing I can do about that. There's people who are going to try to like do detective work, figure out the details. Who is that about? What is that? When it gets a little bit weird for me is when people act like it's some sort of paternity test. Like, the song's about this person, because I'm like, that dude didn't write the song. I did. But she did concede that it's part of being a pop star. She's not really complaining, but she did say it was weird.
In your own words, how would you describe? So is she talking about the fact that, like, so people listen to one of her songs and then they decide it's about a specific
Given on the
person.
time it may have been written and the release date. Look, it's insane. Like I said,
actually,
it's insane.
It's insane, but she loves this stuff. It's part of her bottom line.
It's part, she said it's weird, but she concedes it's part of what is going to happen naturally, right?
Okay.
She said that it is one of those things where it's just kind of weird that they try to like ascribe a certain thing to it. So when you say, oh, Taylor Swift goes after her exes, she doesn't even name them. People will conjure up, for example, back to December is about Taylor Lautner is what they all say. I'm not saying that's the truth necessarily. That's just what they say.
So are there any songs that she has like verifiably admitted are about specific people?
There was like Love Story is about a guy that she liked that was a little bit older than her.
I just read that today, that her parents wouldn't let her.
Yeah,
date.
and so that's why she wrote that song. There are verifiable ones, but like, for example, Ruin the Friendship is about an old high school friend who died of an overdose. Okay. She's admitted to certain things because people were like, how dare you keep writing about this guy that you liked when...
You didn't react!
I kind of jumped.
Keep going. That was like...
I hope my...
It was like a windmill.
That was the tornado.
The hell was that?
It's called the tornado.
Okay.
That, I hope my huge dance makes up for the anger that they have right now.
That's
for me.
fine.
But what I would say, like, there's a couple of songs because people got really mad. Why are you still writing about this guy? You're getting engaged. What's wrong with you? And she was like, no, I mean, I wrote about it because it's a song that, you know, like, I was inspired by this thing that happened. And she's not saying she wished she married the guy, but she said, I wish I would have ruined the friendship when I had the chance because now you're gone.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense to me, right? Makes a lot of sense. Travis doesn't care. And also the guy's mom said, the guy who died said, she liked that Taylor was keeping him alive in a lot of ways by writing these songs. So her inspiration doesn't necessarily matter to me. I just like her music. And I know crazy fans will go and be like, this is about Harry Styles. We are never ever getting back together. People say it's about Harry Styles. That one she tangentially confirmed by going on stage and doing a British accent for like the phone call section where she's like, you call me up and you're like, oh, I still love you. And like, then she was like, that's what she did basically. But she did say that she gets a lot of criticism and backlash for her songs. She says criticism can actually be a good thing. She told the Times that negative feedback has, quote, been a huge fuel and a jumping off point for her songwriting. She cites Anti-Hero and Blank Space. She said both those songs would not have existed if people weren't critiquing every single part of her life and who she dates and all of that. So she was writing about how the media sees her as an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
That's what she wrote about. And that's not really a love song. That's just everyone kind of thinks of her a certain way. And it's kind of like the song Slut. She wrote about, if they're going to call me that, like, okay. She just doesn't. She doesn't care, right?
She does seem to be very good about not responding.
She doesn't respond online. She doesn't
critique.
even. She doesn't go online.
Yeah.
She like goes online to go on Pinterest and find sourdough recipes. That's pretty much it.
Okay, call me crazy, but whenever I hear those types of stories, I don't know.
She's
if I
too
believe
busy.
It. That's what I'm saying.
so
Like,
busy.
I'm like, I don't know if I believe that she's on Pinterest looking for sourdough
She might be on
recipes.
Pinterest and nothing else.
Maybe she dictates to an assistant to go on Pinterest and find.
But everything
a
that's
sourdough recipe.
well, I don't know. Maybe she's like, oh, that one looks really good, right? I'm gonna. And maybe her assistant gets the information for her or whatever it might be.
Wait, wasn't there like a thing where she like went to a Chiefs game and she had like notes on how football works or something?
Yeah, at the beginning of on her first date with Travis Kelce, she asked him because she knew nothing about football at that time. She was like, "What's it like to be across from your brother, like on the when you get down?" And he was like, "That would never happen because of the positions we play, right?" So when you have two guys who play offense or defense, they play offense. You're not going to have them standing on the line of scrimmage together, right? Like that. But it's just funny. That's how little she knew. So yeah, she took notes and she learned. Honestly, I respect that. That's dedication. That's like me watching your procedural show, so I know the references you're making. Kind of a similar thing. A lot of time, a lot of effort has to go into it. But I respect that at the very least. I think that's actually very sweet.
Do you think that so a lot of guys who she has written about, or at least who she has perceived to have been written about, have gotten a lot of flack from her fans because she has a particularly active fan base. Do you think it would actually be better for her to acknowledge who they're about so that the guys don't catch strays?
No, once it's confirmed, it's 10 times worse. So there's the, speculation, but they can hide behind this, well, she's never said it's about me, whatever. There's kind of that, facade there.
What song has caused the most grief for one of her boyfriends?
Dear John. No, not Dear
Mayer?
John. What's the one about John Mayer? There's a couple about John Mayer. And
Wait, Dear John isn't about John Mayer?
Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about the wrong album. Yeah, I think it is. And let's see, John Mayer inspired Taylor Swift.
He must have been
songs.
way older than
He
her.
was. They had a bit of an age gap.
Okay.
But it's Dear John from Speak Now, The Story of Us, Superman, Ours, Would've, Could've, Should've, Foolish One are all speculated to be about John. The only one is Dear John, but also you can argue that's the name of a Dear John letter. That's always been a trope, right? So you could always make that argument. His name happened to be John. I do think it was about him, but she's never actually confirmed anything. She doesn't do that because the second she confirms it, what you already think is bad gets so much worse when they have it confirmed.
Well, even beyond that, so I actually on one hand, I think it's kind of insane what the guys she's dated end up having to go through. I guess it doesn't really matter anymore because she's about to get married. Yeah. But you better have gone in both eyes open, knowing that it's going to end up making your life way more difficult than it needs to be by the time it's over. But as somebody who hates it when artists over-explain their art, I kind of appreciate it.
It's just, it is what it is, right?
It's like the dude from, Eric Kripke, when he basically told people who liked The Boys, you're the wrong type of person. This show is making fun of you. It's like when they talk about the idea of media literacy. I kind of like the idea that she's not explaining it. What's another example of a song where she's, that has kind of really affected one of the men she's dated?
We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is one of them with Harry Styles. They think Style was about Harry Styles, which the name didn't actually, but the way she describes him. And then I was just looking at other Harry Styles ones. I'm trying to think if there was anything that was really, really bad. And Dear John's the only one that comes to mind as far as something that was so monumentally horrible that it caused a lot of backlash.
Do you think her fans are too crazy?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think the Swifties, the diehard Swifties, the ones that spend their life devoted to Taylor Swift.
Well, they're basically,
insane.
a lot of them seem like they're QAnon. It's QAnon for women. I think tomorrow we're going to end up talking about Billie Eilish talking about astrology because everybody knows that astrology is just racism for women. But Swiftie fandom is just QAnon for women.
It's QAnon for millennial women.
Yeah.
And also there's, I guess some Gen Z, but really millennial women. These are grown women complaining on the internet about Taylor Swift's love life, and it's actually kind of sad, right?
Did you watch any of the show yesterday? Because you had a clip. Did you watch the segment about Snark threads yesterday.
I mean, yeah, but that was a lot of the word snark, and I was like...
But do you think that this kind of falls into it, right? Where I think a lot of it is like people have spent an increasing amount of time on their phone, which we're going to be talking about in the next segment even as well. But people have spent an increasingly large amount of time on their phone, and they've devoted themselves to the lives of people they don't even know because it's, I guess, mildly more interesting than their own lives. Like, is that part of what it is, that they feel... I guess an aspect of her music activates this kind of kinship that they feel with her in a way. She's very good at connecting emotionally with her fans through her work. And then the most diehard of fans, it triggers something in them that makes them unbelievably rabid in the way that they connect with her music, looking at all the symbols and the way that all of it kind of lines up and what it means.
I mean, she feeds into it, yes. She's into numerology.
Can you give me an example?
She's very into numerology, and so she has used things where she has said, like, the orange door on the very last show of the Eras tour, she left through an orange door. Well, the next album was orange and turquoise themed. Yeah. So that was something that she knew she was doing. There are times where she has planted Easter eggs, and she's talked about this. That's the biggest one I can think of, but obviously 13 is like her favorite number. She was born in 1989, which has been a theme in a lot of her albums, namely the one called 1989. She has given into that quite a bit. I don't think that it's necessarily bad to play into that stuff, but I do think that you can't... You can complain, of course, but I don't think it's as valid when you then say, oh, it's kind of weird that they think they know me, or it's like super parasocial when you have helped build it.
Yeah, she's brought it on herself.
But I'm saying, she even said, I concede that's part of my career. She admitted that herself. She's saying, yeah, it's weird, but it's what it is. It's part of my career. That's fine. I think it's crazier when that segment we did a few weeks ago where they said that she shouldn't be getting married because they're scared that she won't write music anymore. Yeah. That's insane.
I feel like she's had a very stunted... Because of her level of fame, she's had a very stunted idea of what it means to be like an adult with friends. Like, we used to always critique her, and I'll be fair, it's a pretty it's a pretty niche and granular critique, but like whenever her and her friends would like walk into restaurants, they're like arm in arm, which is like normal people don't walk around like that. But it's literally a defense mechanism, or it's conceivably a defense mechanism over the fact that you're just always being watched and you're always being kind of, hunted down by fans.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but that's being famous at a lot of levels can do that, right?
Is there a possibility that Sabrina Carpenter ends up going this way down the line?
I don't know.
Being as she's also you're also a big Sabrina fan.
Big Sabrina fan. I like her music. Not a big fan of Sabrina the person.
Do you think that Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift are vastly different artists just based on the type of music they make?
No. They court a very similar audience.
Is Taylor Swift's music anything? I've never conceded.
I mean, I wouldn't say like the same, but they're not different either. They're also very good friends, and they inspire each other in a lot of ways, and so that is going to happen. But I don't think that Sabrina's career would necessarily go this way. She hasn't serial dated in a way someone like a Taylor Swift may have, and it's because she hasn't been around as long. That could change. The only person we really know about outside of her Disney days is Barry Keoghan. Yeah, who has actually
I was just reading something about him, like saying like he doesn't even like going out in public anymore.
Yeah, I saw that
because of like allegations.
He was on like an interview
him.
with like somebody I can't remember who now, but yeah, I saw that. She's I don't know. I guess I don't really have a strong opinion on if they would be necessarily the same or not. I do think they court a very similar audience, the girls and the gays.
Did you see this headline? I just thought we'd throw this in here. Austrian citizen pleads guilty to Taylor Swift concert attack plot.
Yeah, so
a man accused of pledging allegiance to the Islamic State group and plotting to attack one of the superstar singer Taylor Swift's concerts in Vienna nearly 2 years ago pleaded guilty at his trial on Tuesday. He's an Austrian man.
He's an Austrian
just like Maryland man.
Except this one's actually more accurate. So Austrian man did actually plot. She had to cancel shows because of this, if you guys remember that. There were terror plots, actually verifiable terror plots against her shows. And this is very much like what happened with the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester
Feels
all those
like
years
a lifetime
ago.
It
was what, like,
it was like 2018?
Yeah, it was. I mean, no, maybe it was 10 years ago now.
Almost 10 years ago?
It was a while ago.
Okay.
It was a very long time ago. The goal isn't necessarily the artist. It is the mass group of people that are at the venue. I think a lot of people will say this and be like, oh, it's because they want to hurt Taylor Swift. No, it's not. It's because they want a mass group of people, any group of people. and someone that is maybe I don't know, like a big name in Western culture, right? There's a reason they hit the World Trade Center. It was because that was a financial center of America. So I am saying, yes, I'm glad he pled guilty. That would have been a long, drawn-out trial, and it's traumatizing. Like, Ariana Grande, to this day, still gets, like, PTSD from what happened in Manchester. And so I can say I'm glad that she was smart about it, though I feel very bad about, the tickets that, people that couldn't. It was 2017, by the way.
Okay.
So next year will be 10 years. Yep. May of 2017. When a lot of people were killed. 22 people were killed at that bombing.
Eugene brought up Christina Grimmie. That wasn't like terrorism. That was just a crazy fan.
That was a crazy, crazed fan that went up. That one, that was 2016. I remember that.
That one was crazy because she was such a big thing on YouTube before her fame.
And she was just such like a loving person and just such like a ray of sunshine. So June 10th, 2016, that's coming up. 10 years is coming up. She was young. She was vibrant. I remember that one. That was
she built her fame on YouTube.
And then going on The Voice. And then when she went on The Voice, she was kind of taken under Adam, what's his last name?
She was already successful.
I know.
Like, very successful on YouTube. Like, it was actually one of those things where I thought she was above going on The Voice at that point because of the reputation she had built for herself on YouTube.
Yeah. That one was really sad too. There's a lot of people that have really been.
It was Adam Levine.
I couldn't think of his last name for some reason. I was like Maroon 5. Adam Levine. He was a good friend of hers. There was just a lot.
Wait, is Adam Levine the guy who got caught sending the texts that were like, your body is absurd?
Sure is. I wonder if he sent one to Christina.
Is that what it was? Your body is absurd?
Absurd. I wonder if he sent one to Christina once. That's crazy. But she was on like a small tour as well. Like, she wasn't really going to like big venues yet. Yeah. Like, she had played big venues, but she had really big friends in the space. Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez. They were friends with her. Adam Levine. That one was really tragic. Another person that was killed by a crazed person is Selena. Yeah. There's plenty of people
anniversary of that just, or was it her birthday or the anniversary of that just came up?
Something recent, yeah. Or was that lady denied parole again? I think she was denied parole again. Yeah. I think. We got extra time today, you guys.
I think that one is, I don't know if it was the anniversary, if it was her birthday that was recently, but it was one of them.
March 31st was when she was killed.
Then that's
her birthday was April 16th. So both of them probably. And then I do believe that recently there was the lady who killed her was denied parole again, if I remember correctly. What was her name? Like Yolanda Saldivar. Yeah, she has still been.
I still think Taylor Swift is more of a talented artist than Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh yeah, depends on which way. I think Taylor Swift is.
For his mass, I guess, just from an outsider's perspective, as somebody who doesn't necessarily listen to the music.
So how would you know who's more
and
talented?
I shouldn't say I do listen to the music, but I don't know the numerology or the symbolism or any of that stuff. But listen to the big songs.
So you're saying if you had to listen to one, it would be Taylor.
But the point being that it feels like there is more artistic meat on the bones of Taylor Swift's work than Sabrina Carpenter's work.
But also Taylor Swift's had more time. So, for a while, Sabrina was only acting and singing occasionally. Then she really broke out in 2014 with singing a little bit. Then she really blew up after she was famous before this, but going on tour with Taylor Swift during the Eras tour.
That was I guess that would have been
that launched her. Like, she was already really doing good, but then it launched her, right? It launched her out of that Disney Channel stardom and really put her into this kind of international pop stars thing. I would say that they're both talented in different ways. And so for me, Taylor Swift is a very gifted songwriter, and she can sing and play guitar very well, but I do think that Sabrina's vocal range is insane.
There's more than a few people, it looks like, in the chat that are agreeing with you over on Rumble. At least one person said that she had superior vocal range.
Yes, Sabrina has an insane vocal. So again, they're both very talented, different ways, so I can't really compare them because it would be like, I don't know, apples and oranges, because they're both pop stars, just like they're both fruits, but they're different in so many ways, from their upbringing to where they start. All right. To where I stand.
All right, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So, Gen Z, is it possible that Gen Z is going into early cognitive decline. Well, we have this article here. It says Gen Z reports early cognitive decline. Here's what to know about the brain rot epidemic and what to do about it. A 2025 Yale study reveals a doubling of cognitive issues in Gen Z, posing a $1.3 trillion threat to the global economy. This is what it says. Challenges with memory and thinking have emerged as a leading health issue, reported by U.S. adults, according to Associate Professor of Neurology. It's Adam de Havilland. I apologize if I said that wrong. At the Yale School of Medicine. A 2025 Yale study found an alarming increase in self-reported cognitive disability, particularly among adults 18 to 34. They didn't ask me, which I would have been
You're
like,
not
yeah,
Gen Z.
110% cognitive decline.
You can't.
The younger cohort rate nearly doubled over a decade, from 5.1% in 2013 to 9.7% in 2023, driving most of the overall increase. By comparison, the rate amongst adults overall increased more modestly, from 5.3% to 7.4% in the same period. While the findings are a cause for concern, they do not necessarily suggest an emerging dementia epidemic. This isn't a diagnosis of dementia or even cognitive impairment, he said. It's a subjective report of people saying that they have serious difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions. With dementia, there's a structural brain disease and a specific pathology that's injuring the brain and leading to cognitive impairment. So what do you think? Is it phones? It's phones.
Yeah.
It has to be
the speed
in which
social media, cell phone usage. I would also say that a big part of it is also like self-diagnosed.
That was a big, like he said at the beginning, because this basically people are like, I feel like my brain isn't working.
But like there are days where you and I walk in here and we're like today, I'm like, oh man, I am tired. I'm out of it today. I feel like my brain is moving really slow.
I mean, I use this show as a perfect example of this. So today I would average, like if we were saying on a scale of 1 to 10, today was a pretty good day for reading for me and thought process and organization. There are some days where it feels like I've never read before in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And part of that might just be the result of the fact that I'm doing a couple of different things at once. I'm trying to think while also reading, while also holding a conversation. And since I'm kind of a midwit, it all kind of falls into the middling category. And on some days it's worse than others. You could definitely put caffeine consumption in there, depending on how fast your brain is working. I don't even necessarily...
I'm saying water to caffeine consumption. Yeah. You might feel a bit more foggy.
Like for me, there are days where that feels like that during the show, but that's usually more a phenomenon of the fact that we're live and you're kind of under pressure to deliver
and say something
as you're doing it. Mm-hmm. Whereas at home, like there have been times where we've talked about things on the show here where we have a far more productive discussion off air than we do on air, because there isn't the structure of the show kind of getting in the way of the way your thought processes work. But also there are days where it's like I've never read anything a day in my life.
Well, like today I feel so like kind of groggy out of it, like I'm spacing, and that probably has to do with, one, I had an adrenaline rush earlier, and that might have just...
Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, so this morning, you guys, we were driving in together as we do, and we've been taking my car. I have a newer car, so we take my car most days. And I literally just like spaced out. I was driving and I noticed low tire pressure on one tire. We're like, all right, well, on the way, there's a gas station. We'll stop. We stop at the first one. Someone is sitting there. It's like in a spot, and there's no good way for me to park my car there and fill the tire without like blocking this dude. And I'm not going to be a dick. I know a lot of you would be like, just block him. No, he was sitting in the spot on his phone, not even getting air. I was so mad. I was like, you know what? We're already running behind. We just got to go. So we go to Wawa, which is 10 minutes on, and there's a roundabout. To get to this wall, it's the dumbest stuff. You go up and you go around and then you go down. And as we're going through this roundabout, the car like drifts. Dude, I was horrified. Now, mind you guys, a lot of people always be like, why doesn't Brett drive? I get motion sick and I don't want to live on Dramamine every day of my life. That's a horrible way to live your life.
Except for when we're driving home from out of town, then suddenly I drive the whole time.
Sometimes. Or he'll be like driving a couple hours and I'll be like, I can take over. He's like, I'm fine. Yeah. Like, okay. So
and the point is the car drifted.
But also I don't want to take Dramamine for 40 minutes as opposed to 3 hours.
So, but yes, the car drifted. You think that affected your cognitive?
Dude, I was like, because when you're controlling the car, it's a lot scarier. And when you know what's going to happen in ice, that's one thing. When you're drifting and you don't know why, my tires, I know everyone's going to be like, oh, your tire's bald? No. They're not. Can you attest to that? My tires are not bald.
They are new.
They are new. Thank you. And so there must have been a slick spot. It rained overnight. There may have been some kind of oil on the ground, something slick. Trucks probably go through there to get gas at Wawa and something spilled a little bit, whatever it might be. It was terrifying to try to control the car in that moment because there was somebody behind us. Luckily, no one next to us. But it was scary.
Do you feel like, depending on how much sleep you get, that your phone use ends up affecting your ability to concentrate?
I don't even think about sleep. I think the phone use really, like, that's why I've been trying to be so much more present and putting my phone down. It doesn't help. We're on computers for work all day. My job here is literally to manage a Discord and edit the green room, which means I am constant. We're clip this show on the days I'm not on here. It's quite literally my job to stare at a screen all day. And I have my blue light glasses actually in the other room because I've been getting headaches now. I think that I've noticed too, like, I just feel, and I'm part of this, I feel like slower. And I don't think maybe it's changing my sleep schedule and working now more consistently. And so I need to have that. And I still haven't adjusted. It's only been a few weeks. But I do feel like sometimes I'm like actually stupid. Like, there are days where I'm like, am I actually dumb? I don't think that's actually the case because I can sit here and regurgitate facts if I want to. But it's one of those things where I do feel like I get spaced out a lot. Now, that could be I don't eat a big breakfast in the morning, and so I'm not getting that protein. Like, I ate a beef stick before the show, and I'm still kind of like, eh. But I do think, too, that adrenaline pump this morning probably didn't help. That used energy to, because then I'm, like, responsible the whole time driving, scared the car is going to do it again.
I don't know how much of it has to do with, I know phone for me definitely affects my mood.
Oh, yeah.
More so than perhaps like whether I feel dumb or not. I feel dumb all the time, but I definitely notice my phone affecting my state of mind, which is why skating is so important to me.
And the
or
thing
walking
is,
or going. Now, guys, like
you're on your phone during your walks.
No, it's the step counter.
I know, but you'll be like,
I listen to stuff.
Okay, but we've been walking and you're actively on your phone. A couple of times, at least when I've gone. I don't go all the time, you guys, because
when it's just me, I listen to the same.
Wow,
YouTube
so when I'm there, Brett's like, "How about no?"
I listen to the same. Well, I can't listen to YouTube videos when me and you are walking.
Yes, because we should be talking, but that means he's just on social media scrolling instead. I'm not, guys. Before anyone throws this out there, we're not actually fighting.
The point is that any type of physical activity is better for you.
Right, and that's why, or just like doing something that you're not staring at a screen. So like I crochet, everyone knows that, or I sew. A lot of times I could play music, but I can't watch something because it's too loud. The sewing machine's so loud that I have to like just, I crochet and we'll watch something, but the screen's farther away. I should wear my blue light glasses more.
I'm talking phone specifically.
Well, I think that there's a lot of reasons. I think too, like one, the brain rot, right? And the attention span going down. You've admitted to this. I've admitted to this. My attention span has decreased way too much. Yeah. Also, I always feel like I'm misspeaking when I'm not. Like, I thought I said tension span. I said your attention span.
On the show, it's a little bit different because you feel like you need to be like.
But like, there are days.
It's like me saying Kevin Spacey instead of Patrick Swayze. I'm never gonna live that one down.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that a lot of it has to do with social media, the 10-second clips. I think it started. I'm a big Vine apologist, but I think it started with Vine and the 6-second clip because it was so fast to just scroll through it, and the automatic shorts. They're frying our brains, and I'm always like, I'm going to be more like, I'm going to be good about this. I'm going to be vigilant about this. But then I go home and we're watching TV or we're doing whatever. And I try to crochet, but then I'll be on my phone and get distracted. Or I don't feel like crocheting. I just need to put my phone down and crochet, especially because I have markets coming up. But I really have to just put my phone down and do something that's not on my phone because I try to be more, you know that I've been trying to be a bit more, I guess, like noticing when we're on our phones too much. It's hard when we're in a restaurant that's too loud to really hear each other, but it's different. Like when we eat at home, I might put my phone down and be like, "Hey, put your phone down," right? Like I don't say it in like a mean way, but it's just kind of like, "Hey, let's talk," right? Like, I know we were at work together and we talked about our day on the ride home, but let's talk about something, anything. Just let's not be on our phones. Like, let's talk to each other. I mean, we talk plenty, but it's still good to not be on your phone.
So it says the Yale study also found a connection to let me put it up on screen here. It says the Yale study also found a connection to socioeconomic factors among the participants, which demonstrates that the difficulties may be becoming more widespread, especially among younger adults, and that social and structural factors likely play a key role.
Like what?
It doesn't elaborate there. It goes into technology. It says, while the report might have relied on subjective self-reporting, other studies support his findings. Earlier this year, neuroscientist Jared Cooney Horvath provided written testimony before U.S. Senate Committee in Commerce, Science, and Transportation, noting that over the past 2 decades, the cognitive development of children across much of the developed world has stalled and in many domains reversed.
I think that right now they are also lumping the cognitive decline of kids from COVID, from not having social skills and going to school in person. That's going to be linked into this in a lot of ways. And I think that until that generation of COVID kids grows up, we're actually not going to know if it was caused by phones or if it was caused by not just like too much technology during COVID, but really not being in person and building those relationships. Because I have a cousin who has 2 kids. The one who was born before COVID and had a bit more socializing before COVID is much more outgoing and well-adjusted. And the younger one he's shy. He didn't really have the years of socializing. He was born at the very beginning of COVID, and it didn't really end for a couple of years. And those are very important years.
They're overthinking it. It's the phones. What is the thing that has changed that is different from every other time in human history? It's adding a computer with access to unlimited information that ends up leaving you like panicked and overwhelmed because of the amount of access that you have.
Yeah.
And I think it causes people to shut down in a lot of ways. But this is the funniest part: is the guy who, of course, who is testifying before the government. Shockingly, he blames federal policy.
I'm not shocked because everything's the government's fault.
Rather, he blamed federal policy that continues to incentivize large-scale digital adoption without demanding independent efficacy evidence, privacy protections, and developmental safeguards. Kind of like Facebook getting that lawsuit this year that they lost, that they're now going to be paying out on. That was Meta, right? It was Meta got this large lawsuit.
Instagram Meta, yeah.
That they're going to have to pay out because of social media addiction. Yeah. He says, which, quote, risks compounding long-term educational and workforce harm. For 2 decades, state governments have invested in providing students with laptops and tablets, digitizing classroom functions, and making Gen Z a beta test for a digital-first generation. The result? Despite having unprecedented access to information from an early age, Gen Z has become the first generation to score lower on standardized tests than previous generations.
Okay, so I think it's half right. I wouldn't say the blame is solely on the government. But it is right that schools shouldn't get the funding to get laptops. When I worked at a middle school, it was like every student had their own Chromebook. And you think they're doing their homework on their Chromebook? Are you stupid? They're not doing their homework on their Chromebook. They're playing games. They're watching YouTube videos. There were so many times I would see them. They would switch
there's not
tabs.
protections in place to stop them from doing that?
These kids are too smart. They get around it. They have brothers who know how, or they find out how to do it because someone knows how to do it. It's impossible. And this is the school. And also, like, how many laptops are they going to have to program that on? That somebody has to do that. They don't just come like that. You have to go in and program every single one.
That's surprising. Usually, like, especially when these companies buy large amounts from businesses, they have specific ones that are made for the like school edition, like educational.
Maybe
versions.
It was because our school district was not the richest, and so they couldn't pay to get like the ones that already have it done. But I do think it's quite sad. I think it's one of those things where I can see it in myself quite a bit. I see it all the time in myself.
In what way?
I feel distracted all the time. I feel like I can't pay attention. I kind of feel like I'm in this like haze, and I feel like sometimes I lose my train of thought more than I probably should. I've actually noticed it in the last year, like a lot more, and I don't know why, but maybe it's just because I've been on technology more in the last year. It could be really a lot of things. I don't know.
It's funny. Like, so the difference between this show and say going on IRL, which I find to be infinitely easier because my only job is to focus on the conversation at hand, which I find to be kind of like almost liberating in a way. Whereas here, it's the matter of doing more than a few things at once, all technology based, my own notes and all that stuff. You hold yourself to a specific standard because you've taken your notes a specific way. But just the act of doing it digitally, like technology wise, ends up making it harder for me. Right. And it's kind of a microcosm of the problem at hand, which is like when you've got, so anytime I'm looking up anything, right? Like you go through 5 sources. And I think this is one one of the reasons why mass adoption of AI is here. They're basically offloading the cognitive load to search for things onto AI because, you know, what used to be 3 or 4 Google searches, looking through Reddit, and or not even Wikipedia, but like say like you have an issue with your computer or something like that.
Yeah.
What used to be like finding a Reddit thread of somebody explaining to you how to fix it is now literally just step-by-step instructions from ChatGPT or Grok.
Yeah, I would agree.
And it's almost like people have been primed.
People don't have to think.
People have been primed to use AI as a search function because they're no longer
And like where people will say, give me step by step, do this, do that. They're like, oh, AI again, that we just got there, you guys. But people will say, well, people will use it for like, oh, just use AI, just use AI, just use AI. No, I'm a firm advocate of when you like one thing we've done before. We didn't do it today because we really were never going to remember those names, but we have done things where we're like, okay, we can't remember these character names, and we'll, like if one of us wants to look it up, the other like, don't tell me, let me think about it. That's what we try to do. My dad does that to me all the time. He'll be like, can you search engine it? I'm like, thank you, Dad. Yes, I can.
Can you search engine
He says that all the time. I search engine his thing and let him try to think about it. Then he'll be like, give me a letter, or like, give me the part of the alphabet or whatever. And he usually comes around to it. But I do think there is a lot of ways in which people don't have to think. You can literally have whatever, you know, AI you want to create a budget for you so you don't learn budgeting skills. That's horrible advice to give to children. I've criticized him. I've criticized Phil for doing this. They've said when you get the right thing, you can just do like Claude, blah, blah, blah. Like you can just get, you know, for Phil, it's Tank, right? I can get Tank to make my budget based on my credit cards or whatever. No, don't do that. Do not teach your children. Do not teach anybody because they're encouraging it, right? And this is now broadly not just Phil or Tim, but everybody that encourages this shouldn't. It's taking away these essential skills that you should have to know. Like our child one day should have to be like, Mom and Dad, how do I budget? And we're not going to say, oh, sweetie, AI. No, that is not what we should be doing. How do I resolve this thing that's happening? You
Grok,
use
how
AI.
to balance a checkbook.
Do not learn how to do these things. Seriously, learn to budget, learn to balance your checkbook, learn what, you know, like mortgage rates are, learn what all these things are. You can use the internet to help you, but don't use it to give you every single answer. Do not. Also, I think the reason I feel so spaced out here is because of the headphones. There's like something really like kind of just different about wearing them.
So I always think about taking them off. That depends on the day. So when I do IRL, I don't use the headphones. And I used to find that wearing the headphones made it easier to stay focused on the conversation at hand, but it's actually like if there's nobody talking, it's such a dense silence in the ears that it's actually like you hear yourself think, and then it's distracting.
Really distracting. People are saying we're blaming technology now for people, like instead of holding people accountable, but I think you should not I'm saying don't do it. I'm saying it's not AI's fault that it was created, but you shouldn't, you know, use it as a crutch. Don't do that. Like, I'm encouraging actually
if anything,
the
what
opposite.
she's doing is she's holding them accountable for making the wrong choice and using technology where they should be learning to do it on their own.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is don't encourage children to do it. Children are impressionable. I'm not going to blame.
And don't worry, I'm not blaming anybody for myself. My brain damage is all my own doing.
All you.
All my brain damage was all my own result of my own mistakes. So that's what it is. All right, let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this new segment that we are going to do. It's Bad Movie Review Tuesday. In this case, we are going to be talking about the 2014 Nicolas Cage movie Left Behind. Apparently a book series that was also made into Kirk Cameron adaptations, which I never saw, but this is a widely panned movie by just about everyone. It's got a 3.1 on IMDb. It's got a 12 on Metacritic, and it's got a 0% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. And if that's not bad enough, it's also got a 21% from audiences. You can give it some leeway if it's got a low critic score and a high audience score. This has neither, ladies and gentlemen. You want to tell everybody what this movie's about?
Yeah, so I will give you guys the basic synopsis here. The synopsis is a small group of survivors are left behind after millions of people suddenly vanish and the world is plunged into chaos and destruction. So the story follows a family, I will say. It kind of follows a family where the dad's a pilot, the mom is, I guess, work from home. They never mention her having a job. Daughter's in college. She's in town.
The Steele
pilot
family.
The Steele family.
Ray Steele, Irene Steele,
Chloe.
and Chloe Steele.
And Raimi Steele.
And Raimi.
Raimi
Doesn't
Steele.
sound like a
we had a
real
lot of
name.
problems with that name last night. So, look, I will give you guys my unvarnished review right now. This movie is horrible. I wanted to like it. Now, mind you, things you might not know going in. It's a Christian film. You might not know that. And so until you get 1 hour and 15 minutes in, you have no idea that this is actually supposed to be a biblical rapture that is going on, where all the souls are brought to heaven, all the children plus all of the godly men and women, right? So the idea, children being innocent, they all get, all the babies, everything get brought to heaven. All the godly people get brought to heaven as well. And then this is supposed to be the final days, you know, the dark ages, where people are going to get the next 7 years of darkness and live in a world that has now fallen. That's the idea.
It doesn't really explain any of that. The closest it gets to explaining any of that is explaining that after, was it a tsunami, that the mom became suddenly very religious?
Yeah, so the daughter says the mom drank the Kool-Aid. At first I'm watching this like, wow, this is overtly anti-Christian. Well, it's meant to have Christian like lessons at the end.
Well,
right?
no, what it's doing is saying like, look, these people were all wrong.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It has Christian lessons in it by saying these people were wrong, you should believe. Some of it, like after we got to like towards the end where the pastor turned out to not be practicing what he preaches, and so he's still there. Yeah. And that's when you actually find out what's going on, by the way. Now, mind you, this movie is how long, Brett? Do you have a runtime
hour and
for me?
57 minutes or hour and 50
2
something?
hours. We'll call it 2 hours.
Roughly 2 hours.
You don't find out until 30 minutes in, a quarter of this movie. Everyone's still there until 30 minutes when people vanish.
In the first 30 minutes.
The first 30 minutes are the girl finds out that her dad is trying to see this flight attendant that he's on this flight
and
with.
She meets Buck the journalist.
Buck the journalist.
Played by Chad Michael Murray.
Yes.
That's the best thing this movie has going for it, is Chad Michael Murray, though probably miscast in this movie.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really have there are several points in the movie where they're on this flight and everybody's vanished and everybody's panicking, where he's trying to
help them.
He's trying to take charge of the situation. And if you know Chad Michael Murray, you probably know him from One Tree Hill, where he plays kind of chill Lucas.
Yes.
He doesn't really have the command, take charge energy in this.
No, and another thing is, so they're overtly showing people who would be kind of the antithesis to Christianity values, but they're showing that like I'm sorry, I'm going to call him this because he is like the little person. I almost said the other word. A little person who's supposed to be like a gambler, right? Like he's the problem, right?
He's
like
also just mean to everybody.
He's mean to everybody unnecessarily. And then there's the journalist, which I guess they're just saying journalists suck because the guy actually seemed pretty decent in my opinion. But then the guy next to him, like they kept showing these, like everyone was sitting next to somebody else who ended up vanishing. So every row now had like one person in it instead of two. They're supposed to be going to London. So the dad is actually piloting the flight that Buck is on. And Buck and Chloe meet in the airport. They have a little meet cute in the airport, where she finds out that her dad is actually leaving, even though she came in to visit him on his birthday, to go on this flight to London to take a flight attendant to a U2 concert. Insane. This all kind of unravels during the first 30 minutes, which you would think that's a lot. No, it's so slow, you guys. Oh my gosh. Like we kept pausing and being like, seriously, we're only 30 minutes in?
So there's no pacing. And there's no tension.
No tension.
If anything, it feels like a bunch of scenes cut together that don't follow like a 3-act structure. It doesn't feel like there's any point in which you've hit the second act and you're about to go into the third act at all.
No, so like if there had been like a flash, like a really bright flash and all these people are gone, I would have been like, okay. But their clothes are still there. They're just not there. It's very weird. Also, like, I guess he took them naked because none of their clothes are there.
There's no build or tension that kind of like escalates to the moment where I'm gonna say the blip, because it's like in Avengers Infinity War. Like there is no moment where it feels like it's tense. The tension's rising,
and then everyone's gone,
and then everybody's gone.
Right,
it just sort of happens after 30 minutes of scenes cutting between the dad, the daughter, and the mom.
Because she like goes home and tells the mom she doesn't believe, and they have this whole fight out with their mom, blah blah blah, whatever. But then when this happens, this blip happens, right? We'll call it that. This co-pilot, Chris, is manning the plane while sleazy Ray is up trying to talk to this flight attendant. So they didn't have autopilot on, so the flight is starting to move, right? People are freaking out, and he's like, get to your seats. Then instead of like, you would think as a pilot, you would just like put in your code and just bust into that cockpit. He's knocking on the door. He's like, Chris, let me in. Chris, can you hear me? Chris, bro, just go in there. What are you doing? That was really stupid. Like, it just didn't make sense the way he was acting in that moment. Like, as a pilot, you should be ready to just go in there and see what's going on. Like, if the guy had a heart attack, if something happened, as the plane's malfunctioning midair. Then what does this guy do? He drops the pressure so that all the people will go back to their seats. Mind you, there's an elderly woman throughout this entire film whose husband is now gone. And she can't breathe. She almost dies until Chad Michael Murray's character goes and puts on the oxygen mask. Then he raises it back up, like almost killing people. I'm like, okay, maybe you are kind of anti-Christian. Like, that makes more sense to me. You're a cheater. You like almost killed these people. Like, someone could have died.
So the most interesting thing about this is basically this movie it's a vehicle for Nicolas Cage, who's obviously the biggest star of the film. From what I read, his brother, who is a pastor, asked him to do this movie because he loved the books. But here's the thing. Like, you don't get any type of actual unhinged performance from Nicolas Cage in this movie.
No, it's very emotionless.
It's subdued. It's like he's on Xanax the whole time. And the weird thing about it is what it feels like they were going for is that he's playing a stoic pilot who's trying to keep everybody calm by being cool, calm, detached, so that he can take charge of the situation and get this plane landed safely on the ground in the midst of this horrifying situation.
But they have no idea what's going on.
But it doesn't come across that way. It comes across like Nicolas Cage was given a bunch of scenes that he had to do in this cockpit set, and it's all kind of one note.
Yeah, and the other thing is there's some of these people that are still in the plane. Suddenly they know. Two of them like know each other. Like, the guy knew this girl's dad, but somehow this entire time they've been on this plane panicking. Doesn't say a single word about this at all. Like, there is no connection made. Also, there was this really unexplained scene where when her little brother, they're at the mall and he disappears and she's trying to walk home because she can't use her car because like a plane crashed into it, like a small engine plane crashes into it. She's carrying her brother's backpack, and these two people on this like bike just take it and just keep going. We're like, and then a bus falls off of the overpass.
Okay, so I want to talk about that part. So there are two instances where theoretically, I guess after the rapture happens, you get, this is basically what their action set pieces were. One is a flight that crashes into, nearly killing Chloe.
But it was like a small engine plane. It was
so it crashes into the parking lot of this mall. And then there's another one where a bus falls off the side of a bridge, okay? And those feel like, in the pitch meeting, those were your two additional action set pieces. They can use it for trailer footage, which, by the way, they did. I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
And the thing is they actually had two opportunities for emotional impact and resonance in these scenes, and they completely ignored it. So the plane crashes, there's nobody there. The bus crashes, there's nobody there. Theoretically, there would be some non-believers who might need to be saved from these instances, which could have led to some type of emotional investment from Chloe. Maybe she pulls somebody out of the plane.
That could have been so good, and then they're trying to find out what's going on together, right?
Yes, or
it doesn't
somebody
happen until she goes to the church,
or she finds somebody in the bus after it falls off the side of the bridge and say, and manages to call for help or something like that. There were moments where it felt like they left really good story elements on the table for the sake of spectacle, with no real thought about which direction to go, if that makes any sense.
And then there's this whole thing where they can't call Chloe or anybody for help. And there's no one, so people being like, why didn't they just call in an emergency? No one was responding for air traffic control. Apparently they're all saints, okay? They all went to heaven. No one's responding until the cart guy, the guy who brings your luggage around on a cart, who got the tickets for Cheater Man Ray, called in and was like, sorry, we don't have runway space here. He's supposed to be a bad person, right? And
they didn't bring up the fact that it was they didn't make the connection on the religious aspect.
I remembered it.
No, but I'm saying, they didn't come up until an hour and 11 minutes into
that was conjecture. He was guessing. He's like telling this flight attendant he was gonna, she found out he was married. She's all pissed at him, and then he's like, this could be what my wife said, like the rapture or whatever. It might be that. And she's like, are you nuts? And then we don't get confirmation until 4 more minutes when Chloe goes to the church, and then she's talking to the pastor who's still there, because she goes to the church to try to figure out what's going on. But what I don't understand is, if phones aren't working, how did she hear there was potentially another plane almost collided with them? Seemingly the cockpit's empty, right? And I don't know how that was still going. But anyway,
The
so
other,
they almost like crash the plane, and then there's like jet fuel coming out, and so somehow his phone leaves a voicemail for the mom's phone, the wife's phone, and this moment where he's like, we've been hit. So she thinks her dad's dead now, and then they couldn't, until they got to a certain elevation going down, couldn't talk to Chloe.
It feels like two separate movies happening at the same time, and both of them somehow unbelievably boring. What they should have done is gotten Chloe in contact with him very early on after the rapture happens,
and then they lose connection when there's that.
Where she and him need to work together to get space for him to land.
Right,
so
we didn't make
she's go ahead.
No, I was going to say the tickets were intercepted by the daughter because the guy was like, oh, Chloe, make sure your dad gets these. She found the U2 tickets after already suspecting her dad was cheating, and then wrote, "This is the saddest day of my life" on the envelope. And so he's like, I don't want this to be the last thing my daughter said. And so if they could have made that connection by being like, then she has to like work with him and mend that relationship because their relationship wasn't good.
Well, she needs to be on the ground looking for a place for him to land the plane because he can't land at LaGuardia, he can't land at JFK.
Well,
so that connects them throughout the entirety of the movie and forces them to work together despite the fact that they're fighting
She's
at
pissed
that
off
moment.
At him,
And it helps explain earlier on in the film why whatever is going on. So it gets to the point quicker than it actually was when they were going through that, and it gives her direction and purpose on the ground. Basically, from the moment that this all happens, she's looking for her brother, and she's wandering around with no real rhyme or reason. She goes through town, and all it's really used as is a way to show like staged chaos in these various locations.
But then she ends up going on top of a bridge, ready to jump, and they play. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like "I Hope You're Dancing in the Sky" or whatever. I can't think of the song right now, but that is, that's like that song starts playing, and I'm like, is she about to jump? But they don't really give you that if she's just looking out or if she's gonna jump until she almost jumps, and then she gets a phone call from what's his name, Buck, and then Buck takes the phone call, and then she's like, oh, I can clear your path. But I'm telling you right now, the best part of that movie was the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because it actually felt it had direction and purpose.
It had action. It had them trying to land, her trying to clear a spot before they can land. And mind, none of this is spoilers. You should have seen this movie already. It came out in 2014. So I don't even feel bad about spoiling it at this point. They're trying to land, and they don't know what she's going to make. She's trying to set up a fire to get them down. And then, they have to get off the plane after that with the emergency thing. And then they just kind of are like, this is just the beginning, and then it ends. No follow-up, nothing. Nothing like 5 years from now. Do people come back? What's going on? I don't know what happens in the book series.
There's some really, really interesting... First of all, I saw somebody in the chat mention it. Yes, for some reason, Jordan Sparks is in this movie. As in acting.
That was very random,
Very random.
She was the one with the pew-pew, right?
With her baby has gone missing. So the other example is like there's some terrible shot blocking. There's a point where she's going by this jewelry store as it's getting robbed, and it shows completely just awfully done shot blocking. It makes no sense directionally.
The guy comes out after robbing or getting robbed, and then it's like it makes no sense. But people are saying the movie sounds good. You have no idea until you sit through 2 hours of 1 hour and 50 minutes of inaction.
So Christopher in the chat says this movie sounds great so far. No, this isn't good in a bad in a good way. This is bad in a boring plotting way where it feels like nothing happens. The other reason that this happens, other than the song that you mentioned, there's one melodramatic score throughout the whole thing. There's no way to differentiate tone or scene based on score. There's a point where she goes into the church where the music should have gone into something symphonic. It should have gone in a completely different direction rather than staying in like this weird, mysterious, ethereal tone that didn't fit the scene at all. There was all of these places they could have gone. There was little things that could have been done to change the way in which this movie paced itself, and it was horribly done.
Yeah, so I think it's called "Hope You're Dancing" or something like that by this, and it's like they get to like just the beginning of the chorus and they stop it before the chorus in the song when she's about to jump off the bridge, and so it's like building up until you get to that and then nothing, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like they picked the worst part of the song for that moment, right?
The biggest, I guess the biggest points against it is that it took 30 minutes for anything to happen to anybody. And then you don't learn until over halfway through the movie that what you're looking at is a biblical rapture.
Yes, you have
and
no
that's
idea.
like they needed to get to the point faster than that. And they needed to actually have a means of raising the tension and showing the scenes in a way that differentiates each act of the movie.
Yeah.
But it didn't have any of that. It was very, very, very poorly done. I guess when we do these reviews, which are supposed to be just bad movies, we can do bad, or bad good. In this case, I would say
Bad.
hard to imagine it being a Nicolas Cage movie because I imagine that Nicolas Cage makes everything awesome. They don't utilize Nicolas Cage well enough in this movie to actually give this movie a bad,
And I'm
good
gonna give it a
rating.
thumbs down too,
Yeah,
right? Like
well.
a thumbs down, bad. The idea of a bad good movie is something like The Room, where it's so bad that it's hilarious, that you enjoy yourself while you're watching it.
Ethan Miller says that's how the rapture should feel. Confusion. Look, maybe that's how it should feel to the people in and of the moment, but for the audience, you're telling a story from a third-person perspective. I don't believe that that's how it should feel to the audience. I believe that it should feel that way to the people that it's happening to in the story.
But we need to know what's going on as the viewer.
Yes.
We have no idea. They kind of tangentially mention there could be a rapture one day, but they don't tie it to we're going to suddenly vanish. They would have said we're going to suddenly vanish. Every believer and child will vanish. Okay, now you get that idea put out there, but she says mom drank the Kool-Aid, blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, yes, I did say The Room. I'm saying it's so bad that it's good. That's where it's like you're enjoying yourself while watching it, you're laughing while watching it because it sucks so bad. That's a bad good movie where I would actually give it a thumbs up because it's so bad, but I had so much fun watching it.
There you go. All right, let's go to Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to hang out here. So how is everybody doing today?
Let's get some Super Chats.
Okay.
Super Chats.
All right, up here at the top from Shane H. Wilder, he says, Happy Taco Tuesday, Dasovix. Bad Movie Tuesday is a great addition. Watch Knowing with Mary Mark. Did you mean Marky Mark? Mark Wahlberg?
Maybe.
I will make you question if life is worth living.
Yeah, question. We're actually going through the Rotten Tomatoes worst movies of all time is what we're doing right now. It's probably in there. We're just going to go through and pick some of those first.
I wanted to watch Ballistic X vs. Sever with Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu. It literally wasn't on any streaming
we're not
services.
paying for this right now.
It wasn't even rentable on
Really?
Amazon Prime.
We found it on Tubi, the one we watched yesterday, and it felt like the breaks were needed because you just can't.
The
sit through
ads were the
movie.
most interesting thing in the whole movie.
There was that one of like a concert. I was like, girl, you low budget, you could sell me anything compared to this movie.
It was like all gambling ads.
It was literally all gambling ads for like games on your phone, all of them.
We even
except
saw
for,
an
like,
Ozempic.
3.
We saw an Ozempic.
We saw an
ad.
Ozempic ad. Yep.
All right. Shane H. Wilder also says Trogdor was a man, or maybe he was a dragon man, or maybe he was a dragon, but he was still Trogdor.
She's talking about Homestar Runner. I was just talking to Jessica, who's here. She works for the company. If you're in the Discord, you know Jessica. We were just talking about how you don't know any internet lore, millennial internet core lore. Try to say that 3 times fast, but we were saying we should have you do a special episode where you have to learn all these things so you actually know what people are talking about. You don't know Carl, that kills people. Carl, you don't know that. You don't know Charlie, get up, Charlie. Charlie, come on, we're going on an adventure, Charlie. You don't know that one either. That's crazy. Do you know Duck walked up to the lemonade stand and he said to the man, do you know that one? Guys, if you tell us in the chat if you want us to do like maybe a members only special where we sit down with Brett one day and force him to learn these things.
I need a nerd sound effect so that I can call everybody a nerd.
Guys, if you want to see that, let me know. I think we need to teach him.
Dingus Khan of Gongolia says, we need Mary to review Left Behind so that she can remind everyone that the rapture isn't real.
Yeah, okay.
Weary Traveler says, I demand Brett's review of the Clayface trailer. I liked it. I finally got around to watching it. I liked it quite a bit. It still feels in a weird way to me like a Sony Spider-Man Marvel movie, but at least it felt like something different. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I'll definitely, I guess, get HBO Max for a month. I don't know how much it's going to lean into horror. I don't know if it's supposed to get an R rating like they were saying, but Olivia's not going to want to go because she doesn't like horror movies.
I hate horror movies.
I did like it. I thought the trailer was very, very well done. But trailers don't really indicate whether something is good or not. You can make a bad movie into a great trailer, but it looked promising. Pat the Plumber says people weren't mad because only retarded libs watch Jimmy Kimmel. Suggested Melania will be happy when Trump's dead is how I took it. Kimmel is trash, but he can say what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't take it as he'd be actually happy. Like, I get like he was just making a joke, right?
No,
like,
he's saying that Melania will be happy when he does. That's what the skit is supposed to
right,
indicate.
Like he's gonna die soon and she'll be happy for it. She's still young
because
enough.
he's old and she's not.
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, I guess, but I still wasn't. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Pop Culture Junkie says, here is some Friends inside stuff. Due to the cast cost, NBC lost money on final season, even charging ridiculous rates for the spots. NBC got a percentage of syndication dollars, made it back on the back end.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. All right. John Smith. Cher is 40 years older than her boyfriend, yet we have never seen Kimmel or any of those liberal talk show hosts talk about that. That's because his audience doesn't care.
Yeah, that's different.
Like, I mean, I get your point, but his audience doesn't care. And they wouldn't care. I guess it would be like the comparison is like, would you imagine that Greg Gutfeld was going to cover something that his Fox audience doesn't care about?
I don't like.
They know their target demographic and they move their shows towards their target demographic.
Yeah.
Chief Corey Anderson said, okay, so let me rephrase. The idea that you're going to completely like neutral like host who's gonna take the piss out of both sides is great in theory, but most of the time you find a target demographic and then you start shifting your content towards
she super
that
progressive. Cher, it's like super lib.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the point is like these shows don't benefit from attacking everybody. We love the idea of that. Maybe those of you who are more neutral or independent love the idea of that. But most of the time, they're looking to clamp down on a specific audience and then address that specific audience because they find out that's what works.
Yeah.
The comparison online would be the way that they say that some people, they find out that criticizing Israel ends up being like this gold mine to create content with, and then they kind of move all their content that direction because it's reflected back at them in the views. You find your audience, your target demographic, and then you go towards it. So I don't think Kimmel would benefit from any of that because his audience would be like, I didn't even know Cher was dating. Like, Cher's alive? I had no idea.
Yeah, literally.
Corey, we read those two from Corey Anderson. Thank you. Weary Traveler says, Olivia is right, and if you disagree with her, you're a hypocrite and a contrarian.
I didn't say it.
Pat the Plumber says, don't let her fool you, Brett. Chat's only mad at OC.
Thanks, guys. Love that for me.
Corey Anderson says, sounds like a cow defending the slaughterhouse.
Not even close, but okay. That's my response.
Corey Anderson says, I don't care about the joke. Who cares? Kimmel is an enemy and should be treated as such.
See, that's the rhetoric that gets people killed. I'm sorry. Calling him an enemy, people will take that to a militaristic point. I won't know.
It's like I don't care what Jimmy Kimmel says. I care enough to talk about it, and I didn't find what he said to be the type of thing that's going to that's requiring him to get pulled off the air. It's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I was far more. I felt like his claims about Charlie Kirk were far more
grotesque,
given the obfuscation behind them.
Yes.
Corey Anderson says, I agree with Taylor. Swifties are weird. Rebuttal?
Yeah, most of them are. Okay, like I'm the exception here, and I'm weird, but not in a Swiftie way.
Yeah. What's your what's your hottest Taylor Swift take?
You mean that would like piss off someone like Corey or piss off Swifties?
Anybody.
My hottest take. I don't know if I have like a super hot take. I guess something that would piss off the Swifties is I don't care about her dating life. I think it's great she's getting married. Good for her. I don't care about her dating life, and I don't care about, like really anything like her politics, her personal life. I don't worship at the the altar of Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
That's my hot take, I guess.
A rumble rant over here from Broody Gambit says, what do you think of the Spider-Man Noir coming out on Prime soon? I'm going to watch it. I'm at least going to watch the first episode. I will watch the black and white version. I can't believe that they're releasing a color version of a show called Spider-Man Noir. But I'm gonna watch it. All right. Corey Anderson says, OC dances like a Muppet. LOL.
You're a Muppet, Corey.
Well, we're very close to a second Crisis Party. If we get a second Crisis Party,
like that one,
you can
the Kermit going like that.
There you go.
I'll do that.
Yay!
Yay! I'll do that if fully for the full Crisis Party.
All right. Corey Anderson says, Taylor taking notes to understand football is cute.
I think it's very cute. Yes, thank you. You said something nice. I love that.
It's like putting the effort in to try. All right. Corey Anderson says, all the bad things about Taylor Swift are caused by her fans for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. Her rabid fans are insane. That goes for any big famous person, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Shane H. Wilder says, Selena Day is a Texas holiday on April 16th, her birthday. It was declared a state holiday in 1995 by then Governor George W. Bush.
That W guy didn't go on to do such great things. That's okay, though.
All right. Weary Traveler says, I have a work-from-home laptop, and I understand when I get off work, I make a conscious effort to not use my phone.
Yep.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, I always feel like I'm falling behind with work. So I don't like the idea of getting done with this show and then not keeping up with what's going on. Because a lot of news stories break during or after this show is on air. So I just ended up in the habit of looking for stuff to talk about after work as well. And I'm always kind of taking notes and setting stuff aside, trying to figure out where this story would work better if coupled with this story. And unfortunately, the side effect of that is you end up spending far more time with your technology than you should.
But the story's not going anywhere if you don't see it for an hour.
I mean, but he's not talking about an hour. He's talking about, like, he tries to for the rest of the day.
I know, but I'm saying, like, you can take a couple hours to not be on your phone.
Yes.
It won't go away. You can still make the connections.
So... you know, it's why I talk a lot of times about how, like, whenever, you know, this show falls apart and I'm no longer doing this for a living, I'll go work someplace, hopefully joyously away from technology.
Can you guys, like, encourage this man for everything that is good and holy? Encourage this man that even if the show itself were to come to an end, his career in this space wouldn't just be null and void.
Gonna go
Please encourage him.
Dig ditches.
Please encourage him.
Shane H. Wilder says, I suggest purchasing a portable air pump. You don't use it often, but it comes in handy when you need it, and they are fairly cheap. Yeah, I have one.
I mean, yeah, but we're always around somewhere to go. It wouldn't have helped the sliding. Like, we would have still had to stop somewhere to get to that point, so.
I have mine. Mine is so unbelievably loud.
Yeah, it
that
is. It's very loud.
I feel terrible using it in my neighborhood because I feel like I'm waking up a small child.
Despite the fact we have people driving past all the time with, like, the boom, 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 every, like, at, like, 1 a.m. I hope everyone liked that. You should use that in a song. If you're like a producer, you should use whatever I just did in the song.
Weary Traveler says, this is a Claude AI affiliated chat.
No. Disavow.
Dingus Khan of Gongolia says,
Dingus.
The son of the guy who wrote Left Behind, who wrote the Left Behind books, actually founded the Hallow app.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
And one of the drug addict character from the movie
was the director's
daughter. What was her name? It was like Venice or something.
It was something weird.
Yeah. Shane Wilder says, sorry, Dingus, you got that one wrong. The son of the writer of Left Behind series is Dallas Jenkins, the creator of The Chosen.
Interesting.
A far more successful.
Yes, indeed. Well, far better. So, yes.
Shane H. Wilder says, as a Catholic, I can't get into Left Behind because we don't believe in the rapture. The idea was created by dispensationalist John Nelson Darby in 1830.
Okay.
All right. Pat the Plumber says, we should be told the movie so we can play along.
Okay.
Oh, like watch it with us?
You know what? Next Tuesday we will have some special guests in studio, so we won't be doing it next Tuesday. But the Tuesday following, or if there's a Thursday, we know we're not going to have anybody in here with us. We will let you guys know. You should follow both of us, and I'll shout it out at the end too. Follow both of us on X. Brett did post it last night. So if we post, remember you posted the thing and said we were watching it? Don't you remember that?
I don't.
You literally showed it to anyway. You guys just.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, and you know what? If you join the Discord, I will even tell you guys when we start watching it one night, and you can like watch along with us at the same time. So if I'm like, hey guys, we're starting at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Not Tuesday, that wouldn't work. Monday. Yeah, it'll be like a book club, but with the movies. So you guys should. I would be Discord. We could do that. I could manage that.
I would be a horrible person to do a watch along with because I'll just talk through the whole thing.
No, I will too. But I'm just saying, not even in like a not like a VC,
at home,
but like
do that,
we'll be in like a chat together where we'll talk about things and be like, yeah, that's what Matt. We were just saying. Yeah, maybe not a watch along. We can't do it because.
No, I mean, I think it would be great because you're kind of expected to. At home, it's nice to sit there and not have to.
But it's hard to do a watch along in the Discord because there's copyright issues, and so I would say you guys would have to basically. We can either all be in a VC together with our cameras on and mute ourselves so we can't hear everybody's thing going at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then we could have a certain amount of time where we're like pausing. We can make it work. Let's work on this. I think that'd be a great idea for the Discord. Maybe do it on a Sunday night. Okay.
We got another one here from Greg Duvier. Says Nicolas Cage equals masterpiece. Stop lying. First of all, bro, you spelled Nicolas wrong. So fake fan.
Name 10 Nicolas Cage movies. Go. No Googling or AI.
I don't think. But in all seriousness, I don't think there's an H in Nicolas Cage. I do agree that for the most part, anything with Nicolas Cage in, I like it, which is why I'm so annoyed by this movie. It was a waste of his immense talent and abilities. That's what I'm saying here. Cool Video says, off topic, I went to Sir Henry Pallett's home of Casa Loma in Toronto in July 2023. I know you went there during your honeymoon. I loved it during the Canadian Army Museum on the top floor.
Yeah, that was really cool. Remember all the gear and everything that was up there, all like the armor and all that?
It was a lot of fun.
I will say, I absolutely love Casa Loma. And hot take, can I give you guys a hot take? I like Canada. Okay, and look, rewind. I don't like the Canadian government. I like Canada. I think it's kind of pretty. I got Casa Loma was gorgeous. Niagara Falls, gorgeous. They have, oh my gosh, what's it called? Banff is there. That's very pretty. I don't like the cities necessarily, but it was a nice place to visit. I will say they have better snacks and candy. It's a smaller selection.
She's wrong about the candy.
No, Brett doesn't like that there's not as big of a selection, but what they lack in selection, they make up for in quality. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I had to be like, everyone's like, be careful. I don't like the government. I don't like that authoritarian slop. Okay. I don't like what Trudeau did and what they're doing now. But to visit there every once in a while, to go to Dollarama, I'll do it, man. Like, my family lives not even 30 minutes from the Canadian border. So I would totally, like, it's funny everyone calls you the Frostback here when I actually lived closer to Canada growing up than you did.
Yeah.
But you're Minnesotan, so can I say?
Accent. Broody Gambit over on Rumble says, watch along is a great idea. I remember a great experience where Zack Snyder hosted a watch along of Batman vs. Superman with behind the scenes commentary. Well, something tells me he's not going to get in trouble for hosting a watch along of his own movie, though it would be funny. I think that did happen one time where we, who was it? We played a song and we got copyrighted for it.
I don't know.
And it was like, I think it might have been, when 5 Times August was on the show, he played his song,
his own song,
and then we got copyrighted for it.
You're like, dude, really?
It was really funny. Yeah. That was rough, man.
That was rough.
All right, Shane H. Wilder says Hallow was created by Alex Jones. No relation.
Interesting.
Somebody pointed out just one Crisis Party. Yeah, only one Crisis Party so far. Though, to be fair, usually we get the second one around this time if we get two, but we don't always get two.
That's fair.
But we should get two today, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't even want to do the movie review last night. I was like, ugh.
We really did not want to watch it.
I didn't want to do it. I was like,
like
but it ended up being fine. It was fun. Like the thing is, like
Fun's a stretch, but we were together.
There's
so it was
something
fine.
there's something about like reviews where you have to take notes, which kind of destroys the ambiance of the movie. Maybe perhaps I would have found it good if I wasn't taking notes, but we had to take notes.
Yeah, and like I mean, I kind of just did it. Okay, everyone's asking about the Discord now, so now I'm gonna have to like. Okay, guys, the Discord is free if you're a member at timcast.com, so you can support the company. It's $10 a month at the basic level. It's $25 for instant VIP access, which means you can actually call in and talk to Tim and the panel. When Brett's on, you want to call in and talk to Brett? Okay, yeah, go do that, right? You'll get to talk to me directly. I facilitate all the call-ins. I do all of the call-in sound checks, and so you guys would get to talk to me. So there we go.
There's this is the list we were looking at for 100 worst movies. Like I said, Ballistic, X vs. Sever, which I do remember seeing when I was younger, but apparently it's been memory hold. It's not available anywhere. Literally, the link on IMDb sends you to Amazon, the website, like the app, to buy it, like a physical copy. It won't let you watch it on Prime, even to rent. So the next one we're going to do, I guess we'll go down this list. We'll
Where's
find
that
something.
one with Catherine, whatever?
I forget. Is it like One for the Money or something
Yeah,
like
One
that?
for the Money is what it's called.
I
Yeah.
think we're going to do that one next. That's nobody likes that movie, apparently. All right. We got a couple more here. Do you see them there?
Where?
Do you see the super chats? Can you see
I
them?
have one from Shane H. Wilder.
What does it say?
I don't even know, man. Come on, take it to the. Oh, okay. He's doing Homestar Runner. Yes, 25 years. Thank you, Shane. We have from Weary Traveler here. Did we miss one? I'm sorry.
He said, "I agree with Patrick. Tell us the next movie."
Tell us what?
He says, "Tell us the next movie."
Yes, we will. We will. We'll see if we can make an event out of it, you guys. And then we have.
It was One for the Money. Let's
go. We have one here from Weary Traveler. Is this a hamburger or hot dog at the cookout show? What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Okay. And then Corey Anderson, OC. I do not dislike Taylor Swift as a person. I respect her work ethic. Her fans are extreme turn off. My wife loves Taylor. All I'm saying is you've sent chats in the past that have given us the idea that you might not like Taylor Swift is what I'm saying. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
The ratings on One for the Money aren't nearly as bad, though. 5.3 out of 10. That's still low. A whole 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. So we'll have to wait and see. 22% from TV Guide. I didn't even know TV Guide was still a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's I mean, if you guys are wondering what movie this was, it was like hold on, let me see if I can find a list of it here. There it is. Yeah, One for the Money. Julianne Robinson directed it. Stacey Sherman wrote it. And it's Katherine Heigl, Jason O'Mara, and Daniel Sinjata from High Potential.
Oh, okay, cool. Wait, which one is he?
He plays Karadak.
Okay, cool. What?
The
Yeah.
detective.
Okay, sorry. I mixed that up with White Collar for a second.
Well, so next week, it's possible we're going to have guests Tuesday and Thursday.
We
so
will have Tuesday, for
at very
sure.
least Tuesday, but it's possible I might have a guest on Thursday as well. So we'll have to wait and see with that one.
Yeah, we can tease them and tell you guys that we have 2 guests that are not with the company next Tuesday, if all goes to plan. So that's exciting. That's not normal here. So
it's got John Leguizamo in it. That'll be fun. All right. I'm excited about that. Is there any other movies that you want to do? Chat. Okay, go ahead, chat. So I'm going to end the poll right now, and I want you guys to let us know in the chat. I will keep an eye on it. Are there any movies that we should review that you think are really bad?
And if you guys have any questions for us, now's a good time too, because we're just kind of here right now for the next 8 minutes. Yep. We are just here.
Weary Traveler says you are presented 2 choices at a cookout. Are you choosing the cheeseburger or the hot dog?
The cheeseburger or the hot dog?
Cheeseburger.
The hot dog, because I can't eat that much cheese. But
you just eat a hamburger.
What? I mean, yeah, but then that's like kind of, like a chili cheese dog. I would sacrifice the cheese for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad movies in here that I think would be funny to watch. There's
The Room just feels so predictable that if we do it, we'll do it way later.
Yeah, that'll be one we do way later. There's one called, hold on. Have you guys heard of Gotti with John Travolta?
I remember when that came out. Nobody thought very highly of that movie.
Gotti has a 44% audience, 0% Rotten Tomatoes.
See, the thing is, like, I kind of want to find ones that are both universally low, right? Like bad critics
okay, what
and
about
bad
Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2 with 25% from the audience?
I'm not watching anything called Super Babies.
See, so we have to, basically, let me see what else is in here. Let me see on this list.
Another one here from Corey Anderson says, review the Garbage Pail Kids movie.
No, I don't want to do that. I've seen it. No thanks. Cabin Fever. See, everything is like a horror movie that's really lowly rated, and I don't watch horror movies. Sorry, that's my one thing.
Anything?
Nothing you would consider like...
Okay, how low is, like, find the ones with, like, on the lower end.
Like under what? Like 30%?
If you can find it under 30.
Under 30, I mean, there's a couple different things. So let me find some that are like, oh, you wouldn't watch this. I thought it was really funny. This one's called Transylmania, and it's 22% audience, 0% critics. It says the critics' consensus, never aiming higher than threadbare jokes and offensive attempts at politically incorrect humor. Transylmania is a vampire comedy that truly sucks. The synopsis is college students arrive at a Romanian castle for a semester abroad, unaware that the place is infested with vampires.
Count me in. We need to watch that, and we need to watch Zootopia as well, which I keep wanting to see.
I'm going to see where Transylmania is. Dude, they're going to see my search history on this work computer and be like, what the hell?
The destroyer to all trolls in the chat says, one for the money was so bad I couldn't even finish it. Yes!
Okay, awesome. That's not
that's
good, but
perfect.
That's good.
That means that next week, or at the very least, the next one we do will definitely be one for the money. That will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, see, I have it here. Is this the same one? I'm so, like, this doesn't feel like it's the right one. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But it has 5.4 on IMDb. 2016? No, this is 2009. I need 2009. Let me see.
Yes, it is, Mike. It is called Zootopia. That is the name of the movie.
Yeah,
they don't spell it with 2 O's like that, though. I do wanna. It's one of those movies that I couldn't believe ever got made, and it's just kind of sat there in my Amazon watch list, but you have to like rent it or buy it. So.
Yeah. Let me see if we can find where Transylmania is. Something you can get.
Where's it playing?
I'm looking.
The Destroyer to All Trolls said thanks, so he must be like looking forward to us trying to suffer through
Okay, well,
movie.
we will.
I'm probably going to end up loving it. That's the funny part. So I'm like, what
Probably.
are you talking about? This movie was great.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, it looks bad. Like, it just, like, the whole plot sounds really dumb anyways. Transylmania 2009. Let's see. It is 3.8 on IMDb. That makes more sense. It is available on Amazon, so probably to rent or buy.
We've got Broody Gambit over on Rumble says, I replied on X, but review Dragon Ball Evolution or possibly Dead or Alive. We could do Dragon Ball Evolution, but it's not going to be as offensive to me because I never watched Dragon Ball Z, but we can definitely do that at some point. I know
Corey
that is
Anderson
a universally panned movie.
Corey Anderson super chatted and said, how about The People's Joker? Review that. I'll do it. I will do it. I will. If Mary will do it with me, I will do it with Mary without you.
Okay.
I swear. I will actually do it. It actually came out in 2002. And
2002.
But 2022. See,
okay,
I'm
like,
telling
what?
you, I'm functionally
It's on
dumb.
streaming, right? It's on like Tubi or something.
Well, let's find out.
I believe
Tubi
it is.
and Prime Video and a couple other places. And I think we should. I don't see why not.
Well, let's get through one for the money first, and then we'll worry about it from there. And from Transylmania and Zootopia, and once we get through those 3 movies, we'll see where to go after that. It should be a lot of fun.
We'd need Mary for that one too, though.
Yes.
If she's willing to do it, we'll talk to her.
We could do a remote review.
Yeah, we all sit down and do it, but that might have to be a members only like thing where we all sit down and like record it outside of showtime.
Yeah. All right, we got it. Got you that time. All right.
Holy loud. Okay, we need to turn that down.
Well, no, it's because you took the headphones off.
Because they made me feel all wonky.
Should have left them on. That's what caused it. When you take the headphones off, it's twice as loud. You don't have to put them on now. Don't got another crisis party coming. We're good. I have no idea why I did that.
Oh.
I'm turning it down. I think we might have had one of those things happen. We're gonna get. So we're like, it did the whole thing. We're likely gonna get stuck with the crisis party going off till the end of the show. So we're gonna have to just wrap this up here, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Oh my gosh. It's not like there's gonna be another crisis party, and it immediately went off.
Sorry about that.
Chat is dying.
That is.
He didn't set it off, you guys.
I did not do that.
I
I did not do that. That was.
I was. Guys, I was looking directly at Brett as it happened, and he was like, he actually felt bad. Okay, we have one last one here from Shane H. Wilder saying, Meet the Feebles, directed by Peter Jackson. YouTube won't let me describe it. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and do some outros here, so I'm just going to take the reins here and do it.
Guys, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. I apologize for that, even though I had nothing to do with it.
It's okay. It was actually really funny.
Where can they find you?
You guys can find me on X and on Instagram at Olivia Dasovic. Like I already said on the show, you guys should go to timcast.com, hit join us, and for just $10 a month, you guys can join a watch along that we might do or be a part of the Discord. After 3 months at $10 a month, you will be able to call in and talk to Tim and the panel, or you can join at $25 a month and immediately be able to call, talk to Tim and the panel. It's a good time. I'm hanging out there. Brett hangs out there. And guess what? Mocha hangs out there. So you guys should come on over. We have a couple more super chats here before I kick it to, or we have one more here from Corey Anderson before I kick it to you. He said, how about 9 songs? It has 23% critic score and 32% reviewer score. Okay, we'll look at that one as well. Thank you, Corey, and I will see you guys later.
What was it called?
9 songs.
Okay. Broody Gambit on Rumble says, let me dig through my DVD Blu-ray collection and I can come up with several bad movie options. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review.
We have a huge super chat from Katie, both of you from U4K here. Wow. Thank you, Katie. Holy crap. Says, a new way to look at the Ani Michelle Michael Jackson film is it's very ensuring Michael turned... Oh, girl. I think she said, I think she's probably really tired when she's
Something
typing
about
this.
his dad.
She's saying that it's very inspiring and reassuring that he turned what happened with his dad into a legendary business career. Yes. Thank you, Katie. Holy crap, girl. Holy crap.
Thank you so much for that, Katie. I don't know what like I never know what like exchange rates or anything are for Australian, but thank you so much, Katie, for that.
Thanks, girl.
I heard that you liked the movie, and I'm glad that everybody liked the Michael Jackson movie. It's not Michael. It's not the other Michael that everybody's seen from the 90s, but it's a different Michael. The Michael from the 90s with John Travolta. But guy, where was I? Hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you haven't subscribed here yet already. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both those platforms. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out if you need to. And if you want to follow the show on social media or on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Stay tuned for a post-credit crisis party. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see y'all then.
Bye,
everybody. See you guys tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Later.